Hey, everybody, welcome to the Sky Lounge podcast, episode number 152. And as always, thank you so much for joining me today and listening in. If you are new, welcome, and check out some of the other episodes on the page. All episodes are available on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Music, so make sure you are subscribed so you can get notified for a new episode every Tuesday. Make sure to follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook at the Sky Lounge. Stalk me on Snapchat at DA13IG5EUNG. Let's get started. The Sky Lounge is still around. Wow, 3-year anniversary. The podcast started on October 10th, 2016. Long ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah, some bullshit like that. And here's the thing, boys and girls. This is a very informal episode. I just want to talk to you folks. Whoever clicks on this bullshit rant and ramble of a life, technology, um, popular culture, film, books, TVs, music, whatever the fucking case may be. I like just delving into new shit, sports, and delving into new things just makes you kind of think about all this new shit and potential other things. And from that kind of curiosity and just appreciation for random bullshit is where this idea for the podcast came in. And there's so many inspirations I take for making the podcast the way it is. I mean, obviously, this infatuation and fascination with sports comes from listening to radio shows all the time, right? Listening to national sports media telecasts and television shows all the time. And you hear other great podcasts, comedians like Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Mark Maron, all those, top tier cats. And for me, it's not to emulate to the point of, oh, I want to get to that number. Oh, it's not that. To me, it's just, I want to produce shit that I want to talk about. And I want to just make sure that it's me, first and foremost. And secondly, and really alongside that in tandem, is for entertainment. It's for fucking shits and giggles. That's really it. I mean, this is the whole thing, boys and girls. I always tell everybody, like, chill the fuck out. I never really want to fucking, get everyone's fucking panties in a bunch and shit, That's really the whole thing. And really, the whole philosophy of the Sky Lounge has always been using inappropriate comedy and foul language to just share opinions on these random things in life. And, you ask anybody, like, hey, do you want to hear about a guy who just talks about his opinions and stupid shit and he's not really qualified? Most of you would say no. Like, what the fuck? That sounds like the dumbest shit. But the reality is, like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to try it. I wanted to do it. And behind that desire was this kind of wall of, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of, I don't know, of the unknown. But I had external forces helping me, all the way through. And I'd be a total fucking dickhead, right? If I didn't mention some of these cats. I mean, Juice Kurosaki. My guy Juice was one of the many cats telling me, like, hey man, you just gotta push your way through, get through shit, and not give a fuck. And that kind of philosophy and mentality still holds to this day. And essentially, because of that, it kind of made me really make that part of my persona, of how I approach things. And there are days where the kind of brutish assholishness of doing that can get to you, and it could get to some other people. But at the end of the day, there's the efficiency factor to it, and there's a lot of getting shit done kind of deal. So I vibe with it. I fuck with it. My brothers like Chai, Hui, Alex, Buddha, all just kind of telling me like, dude, go with the flow, right? I mean, do it. Don't be a fucking pussy about it, right? Like, who gives a shit if no one sees it? Just fucking do it. And again, without pushes from my brothers like that, I'd still be in this little corner. I'd still be like, oh, I don't know what the fuck to do. My little fucking dick is all inside. Hey, I don't know what to do. A buddy of mine too. I mean, she, told me flat out, like, dude, talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about. There's a lot of life experience that and perspective that you could bring onto a free media platform, more or less. And why the fuck not? Why the fuck not just talk and, ramble? And that's all of those things really has culminated into driving this podcast, driving the philosophy of this podcast, really helping me just kind of formulate out what I want to talk about on a week to week. And I know there has been a lot of hiatuses throughout this year, especially this year. I took a month off in September. And I told you folks, I wasn't mentally feeling up to it. I just wasn't, flat out. It was really morbid to think about, just writing, just crap and not feeling good about it, but still pushing it out for numbers' sakes. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't. And, I know within the 3 years that I've been doing this, I know there's a lot of parts where I know I wasn't honest with myself, where I just thought, oh, I'm going to do this because I love it. And the truth was there were moments and blips where I knew, like, I'm not feeling this. I'm not. But you force the issue. And yeah, some shit might come out. But, if you force a fart, it might just turn out to be shit. A quote by my mother. I can't even make that shit up. It's a quote by my mother. Holy fuck. But yeah, there are so many people along the way in this 3-year journey that has affected me, right? Either indirectly or directly. And if that's the case, if I needed to name everybody, this podcast would be a fucking nightmare. It'd be an eternity just naming names. Should be good. Like, no. But what I am saying is, I didn't do this alone, right? I may produce, I may write, I may release all this shit by myself and alone, but all of this is done through external forces and my own will, right? My own kind of shit, which is really a weird way to explain this, but truly, this is something that I enjoy. This is something that I love doing, and it's been a process. It still continues to be a process. And that's why I love it. There's something about formulating your ideas, right? Putting them on paper, putting them on, a fucking document, a sheet, type that shit out, whatever. And then putting a voice behind it, my own, most of the time, all of the fucking time, because I'm doing all this shit, and then putting it out there, and then it becomes a tangible, palpable thing, and that's just cool. I just like the idea of creating, and it's a very basic way to see it. It's a very bare way to see it, but sometimes you got to get to the root of things to really appreciate the layers and the complexity and the context of what's going on. That's perspective. And you absolutely need that, boys and girls. You absolutely do. Right? But hey, I don't want to fucking bore you anymore because, goddamn, It's a short episode, and I'll keep it that way. Because next week on the Sky Lounge, boys and girls, back to your regularly scheduled podcast on Tuesday. Folks, thank you so much for joining me this week. 3 years, seriously, thank you so much for joining me anytime y'all been clicking through. Make sure you are subscribed on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Music for a new episode every Tuesday. Make sure to follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook at The Sky Lounge. Stalk me on Snapchat at DA13IG5UNG. Now, fuck off.